Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, are reportedly now moving to try to take control of the D.C. bar, tried to indict Chuck Schumer, the top Democrat in the Senate. Trump signed an executive order to punish a particular law firm because that law firm has done work for Democrats.
Let's get into another Rachel Maddow takedown of the crooked Trump administration, but first, take a moment, like the video. I know it's like my daily PSA at this moment, but it really is like the make or break for our videos getting out there, and let's just get into the chaos after.
One of Donald Trump's first acts upon being sworn in as president for a second term was to appoint a new U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C. His name is Ed Martin. It quickly became clear what made Ed Martin so appealing to Trump for this term. Ed Martin was at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. He said it was great, said it was like Mardi Gras. He later served as a defense lawyer for several Trump supporters who were charged with attacking police officers during the attack on the Capitol that day. Once Trump named him U.S. attorney in Washington, the top federal prosecutor in Washington, D.C., Mr. Martin immediately set about demoting and firing federal prosecutors who had worked on January 6th cases. He also, honestly, tried to indict Chuck Schumer, the top Democrat in the Senate, an effort so outlandish he apparently couldn't even get Trump Justice Department officials to sign off on it. Ed Martin also tried to get one top prosecutor in his office to order a bank to freeze billions of dollars that had been dispersed by the Biden administration in a federal grant.
The sociology is a bit hilarious to see because MAGA really believed Trump and bought into the weaponization of government line, like they made it their entire personality and reason they hated Democrats, only to have to completely eat their words. Like their entire, what they thought was their personality, their identity was crushed, where they now look like complete jackasses in deciding that, okay, well, I like Trump more than like that morality or ethical standard, as Trump immediately came in and showed what it actually looks like to turn the DOJ into a weapon that works for you, which only further vindicates the Biden pardons, by the way. But I mean, look how insane this is. Trump is trying to unjustifiably open indictments into the top Democratic senator, which, by the way, also shows how it's not just simple to indict anyone, showing how serious it is that Trump got 88 of those things. I mean, this guy couldn't even get Trump loyalists on board, but it doesn't end there.
Democrats in the Senate have also asked for an investigation of Ed Martin from the D.C. bar. And in a development that's surely totally unrelated, I should mention that Ed Martin and Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, are reportedly now moving to try to take control of the D.C. bar themselves. They're doing it very stealthily by having Ed Martin's deputy and Pam Bondi's brother run for leadership roles to take over the D.C. bar. Good luck with that. I'm sure nobody will notice. Is it the Bondi as in Bondi? Yeah, same last name. You might think that developments like this might create a real sense of turmoil, hunkering down maybe, or at least a lot of renewed hard work at the Justice Department. Well, let's look at what Attorney General Pam Bondi has been up to in the midst of this mess. You might recall that last week, Trump signed an executive order to punish a particular law firm because that law firm has done work for Democrats.
Important here, as they're not just weaponizing the DOJ offensively, but defensively as well, to shield themselves from being investigated for their own corrupt acts, which sets a scary path forward for what they might actually be able to get away with, especially given what Trump tried his last time around. We know that he'll go for it, and he has immunity if he does this time, and they're attacking law firms that might not be loyal to them, trying to take control of legal groups they feel might investigate them, and it begs the question, like, at what point is the line drawn? And for those who pretended that they were wildly uncomfortable with this when the Democrats were in charge, where are you now?
Trump's Justice Department are also apparently trying to launch an investigation into the otherwise totally normal process of funding shelters for migrants in New York City. I say they are trying to launch an investigation there because they seem to be having trouble with some of the fundamentals, like spelling. At least one of the subpoenas they sent out has folks in New York scratching their heads because it went to something called the Hotel Chandler. Hotel Chandler does not host immigrants at all. It's not clear what's going on there with the Hotel Chandler, but a CBS News report does note that, quote, a source familiar with the shelter system pointed out that another hotel with a similar name, the Candler, is in fact a hotel where they house migrants. Asked about the situation with the Chandler and the Candler, a spokesman for the Department of Justice said, quote, "We will decline to comment on an ongoing investigation."
Only the best, most qualified hires, guys. Remember, Trump winning, only the best, most qualified hires. Guys, remember, Trump winning was a return to merit. It's a meritocracy. This is just hilariously stupid. If the Biden administration did anything this hilariously inept, I mean, especially if it was a person of color, MAGA, whatever, field day, this would be what Fox News ran for 10 weeks. Yet with Trump, it's just like, yeah, you know, he's doing his best. We see this stuff daily with his cabinet, his DOJ. But on the more serious note, how he is wielding the DOJ to target these institutions that he feels are not complying with his will is so inherently anti-democratic. It's super authoritarian. It's also pretty big government for the small government party. I mean, when he can, he threatens funding. If he can't, he finds a crony to do an investigation or to sue, right? We're really on the edge of being forced into the rule of a dictator. And I just wish that more Americans, I wish we could go back to wanting to instead of just conceding to them. If I can be blunt here, I will beep that out, of course. But I just wish that we had a real opposition party, because why are we letting this happen where the American experiment could legitimately end? I mean, every single day, Trump is escalating further into cartoon villain level evil. With some of it, I can't even believe my eyes. We're deporting lawful permanent residents who haven't committed crimes. We deported a 10-year-old with brain cancer. We cut the Interagency for Homelessness, the Minority Business Development Agency. What are we doing? Why? What's the purpose? And when did owning the libs become a justification for doing shit like this, right? And where is the line drawn?